are celebrating the 16th anniversary Charles Gilbert Kapsner Salon. My name is Erika, and I'm the director here at Great River Arts. On behalf of the GRA staff and board, I would like to thank you all for joining us this evening in support of the many talented artists in our communities. Great River Arts has been working with Charles for many years to highlight the talents of artists in our region and to bring examples of art from an array of disciplines to the Little Falls community. Charles Kapsner is the fiscal year 2024 recipient of a Creative Individuals Grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board for his piece Odyssey, which you can see this evening in the front gallery. This activity was made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board, thanks to a legislative appropriation by the Minnesota State Legislature and by a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts. In addition to receiving the State Board Art Grant, Charles Kapsner has also obtained additional honors for works in last year's salon. The works Swan Lake and The Best of Him are now semifinalists in the Art Renewal Center's 17th Annual International Salon and will be included in the Lunar Codex Polaris archive, which is headed to the Lunar South Pole in September 2025. With that, I would like to once again thank you all for attending the gala this evening and introduce our next speaker. So if you all will please welcome Mayor Zylka to the stage.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming out this evening to celebrate this magnificent artist. Charles and I went to school together. I remember our 9th grade art teacher, Mr. Eastby. And for our art project for the year, I remember I bought a bar of Dove soap and carved it into this picturesque fish while Charles was painting the Sistine Chapel or something. I got a D, and the only reason I didn't get an F is because I was on the basketball team, and Eastby was our coach. So I also got to work with Charles on the Veterans Arts Project that is out at Camp Ripley Veterans Cemetery and soon to be in the State Military Museum when it is complete. It was an amazing project, a lot of hard work by Charles, a lot of hard work fundraising, but it was worth it because I've always supported veterans. And the project is just amazing. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it because it is totally incredible. Charles and I tend to go to the Viking Club in Camp Ripley frequently and have conversations and talk about our past, our present, and hopefully our future. But it's just amazing what Charles has created throughout his life, and this is a well-deserved evening and a well-deserved honor. So, Charles, congratulations and great job on all the work you do.
Thank you, Mayor Zylka, and everybody for being here. My presentation will be a little bit longer as we're celebrating something special tonight. So the theme of this year's salon celebrates the 30th anniversary of the first fresco I painted at Lindbergh Elementary School called the Stewardship. The focus of the piece is about environmental and education through the arts, but like any really big project, it too was a collaborative effort in nature. A former school board member, a friend of mine, Cal Jackson, suggested to the then superintendent, Dr. Carrie Jacobson, that a fresco in the elementary school in Little Falls was even a possibility. Well, 30 years later, it remains very real, and while I will share a little more later, for now I'm reading an excerpt from Carrie, who had hoped to have been here this evening, but due to a year-long job in Egypt, he was unable to join us. I wouldn't mind being there myself with him, but at any rate. Well, here I will share some of his words and thoughts, and I invite you to read the entire text out front because I did have to edit it somewhat. So here we go. Tonight, I'd like to welcome you to our salon. I claim it as ours because while Charles instigates the event and the GRA hosts us, the impetus that connects the arts and education are entitlements with community-wide ownership. This is very evident, particularly in Little Falls, also in Minnesota and Egypt and all over the world, including Egypt. Let me explain. I am Dr. Carrie Jacobson, and right now I am serving as the superintendent of Khartoum American School, an international school that has been displaced to Alexandria, forced by the civil war in Sudan to evacuate and relocate with our families and students safely to Egypt. As I sit here in Egypt, surrounded by ancient human history, it is very evident that the way the past communicates with the present through its artwork, the architectural and mathematical simplicity of the pyramids, the stories emanating from the Sphinx and the documentation described in hieroglyphics, and the beliefs that are accessible from the magnificent artifacts from the tombs of Nefertiti, Ramesses II, and Tutankhamun, and others who have came before us. Each work is a message about who we were, to who we are, and toward we will be. For tonight's salon, we will remember two truths. Truth number one, in the future, they know us by our arts. Just as we learn from Egyptian art history, so will future intelligences know us by our artwork. Let's see how this plays out tonight with two new works by Charles. First, the portrait of Doris Simonette, a continent so loving and knowingly engaged with the viewer that the viewer learns a bit more into the visual characteristics that become habits, that teach us how to be good neighbors and welcoming citizens. They define an inclusive culture that Doris lives each day. Second, the Odyssey, a lively and complex portrait of the journey of Charles, one of our own and one of our world's most foremost visual artists. My own take on this still life is that it could be subtitled anything but still, bringing together elements not only of the singular visionary work, but with deeper symbolism and of the human world that we create each time we interact with each other, especially when those interactions create ideas, space, and meaning through painting, drawing, dancing, singing, acting, and writing. I'm just going to step off for a second here to mention I got this project going earlier this year as a result of the grant that was mentioned earlier that my dear wife Catherine, who's a great writer and grant, helped me get and got the project on the road. So the Odyssey is about my 50-plus year journey, not only in the art world, but our relationship and things like that. Unfortunately, the whole essay is not here tonight, but at some point it'll be on my website. But all of the objects in that painting tell a story of some sort of the journey of studying art, language, life in general. So take time to look at it. It'll be here tonight as its first sort of preview. Then it's heading to Minneapolis for my new show that's coming up at Studio Pintura on November 7th. So now we shall continue. Both of these pieces exemplify and communicate the cultural space that provides significance to our times. These works are our messages to the future delivered with a beauty that is timeless. Truth number two, arts education is the most important active learning process and the place to where we become human. Let us consider the value of an education through the arts. As humans, our most significant job is to raise our children, to bring them to full understanding of what it is to be human, and to create goodness, beauty in this world gifted to us for a short while. To educate our children well, we, as parents, collaborate with teachers and others in this most important task. We now know that this work is best accomplished through an education in arts. Consider, too, the value of arts education for another reason, as a place where one actually does something. The creation of a drawing with underlying meaning, a sculpture that suggests an emotion, a scene in a play or in an essay that produces a story well told, or a symphony in harmony with others that lifts the spirits of the musician and the audience. In each case, the product is accessible to the creator and to the witness. It is where an idea takes on physicality in sight, sound, space, and feel. Think about the two frescoes that define us at Lindbergh Elementary School. Both of these permanent works of symbolic realism demonstrate our current commitment to who we are and what is important to us. Each is a testament to the power of an arts education to create deep learning at the same time they tell our story. During the creation of the frescoes, Little Falls art teachers Nancy Ratzloff and Ren Holland involved students in the creation of art simultaneously with the development of frescoes. The Stewardship and in beginnings, Little Falls is fortunate to be able to boast both fine art and insightful arts education. The influences of this fortune on this city and area is significant and spreads far beyond the first cataracts of the Mississippi. New art teacher Dustin Parker is a great example of this influence, but it goes much further to the thousands of Central Minnesota students and citizens who believe they can steward this earthship in ways that are sustainable and worthy. While many educational pursuits contribute to this challenge of raising our children well, arts education is the place where real product is taught, the space in which our own memories are most indelibly stamped, and classroom where each of us becomes human. Okay, now that the heavy part is done. Welcome to the 16th Annual Salon. Thank you for taking time to join us in what my wife, Catherine, and I view as a highlight of the year. It has always been important to me that a salon has always been about collaborative, and while it does have my name on it, it includes many other artists from many genres, poets, musicians, painters, dancers, sculptors, and more, whose work adds to the evening. Tonight includes terrific paintings by two regional artists from the St. Cloud area, Michelle Ferrianchek and Lisa Molitor. So please raise your hands. Where are you? There they are. So make sure that you take a look at the work right here on the side wall. And remember, even though Black Friday is like a month and a half away, you can buy Christmas presents tonight. That lasts forever. So, and for a third year, students from the Pierz Jazz Band will keep you entertained with their expert musicianship under the direction of Joel Poland. Thanks again for being here, and to answer a question I get every year, yes, they are high school students, and yes, they are fantastic. And thanks for your friends for showing up too, appreciate it. And hosting the salon in partnership with Great River Arts over the decades is an important one. And as a local artist, I appreciate this incredible venue and the role it plays in my hometown. And Erika and Francis work really hard to ensure that everything is good to go. Thank you both. And to say that they truly do the heavy lifting is very real, as the beautiful gold couch in the back is one from my parents' home that I didn't have room for anymore. And Francis and her beau literally did the heavy lifting out of our living room. And go enjoy it, because I can tell you I've spent thousands of hours on that couch in the middle of the night watching movies and things like that, and it's comfortable. So you can camp out for the evening if you enjoy it. As anyone knows, a good party has great food and beverages, and I have to call out the stunning presentation of appetizers selected by and created by my niece Jolene. Where's Jolene? Oh, there she is. And for those of you who've been tending the salon through the years, you may recall my mom, Jolene's grandmother Florence, used to make the desserts called Olsen bars. And Jolene has taken over the job, assisted by her husband Michael and my great-nephew Dexter. Thank you, Dexter. Welcome to your first salon, Dexter. Raise your hand. All right, thank you, thank you. And to wash down the great food are excellent wines that you can taste, hosted by the great team of Ben and Elise, Coburn's Liquor. They are truly knowledgeable and want to share with you all kinds of insights on the wine varieties selected for tonight's show. We are also honored to have leadership from Camp Ripley here, including Garrison Commander Colonel Troy Fink and Deputy Commander Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Hall. Congratulations, Charlie. They have been great partners in the salons, and as a sidebar, art-related, is the work underway for the new Minnesota Military and Veterans Museum, currently housed at Camp Ripley. There is major work on the new museum at the intersection of, by Camp Ripley, I think it's like Old County Road 76 and Highway 115, and we slated opening for 2026. As we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Salon Steward Frescoship, I share with you that for me the project was one of the most excitable and memorable of my life, largely due to the energy and excitement of being surrounded daily by the students. They brought their enthusiasm, critical eyes, interesting and insightful questions, and thoughtful observations. I know there are a few students who were at Lindbergh School during that time in attendance tonight, including Dusty Parker, who is the new art teacher at Lindbergh. Is Dusty still here? There he is, and AJ. Where's AJ Olson? AJ was there also. There's AJ back there. Okay. And the art teacher at the time was Mrs. Nancy Ratzloff, who left an indelible imprint on thousands of students throughout her career. Nancy and I have collaborated for a long time, including being neighbors for years, and here we are again, where I get to introduce Nancy. Nancy, come on up.
Well, how exciting is this? I can't believe it. 30 years, my gosh. Charles, you and I must have been like in our 30s, right? Something like that? Something like that.
One would hope.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm very happy to be here tonight, and I'm so appreciative of what Charles does for our community in many, many, many ways. 30 years ago, when Dr. Jacobson came into my art room and told me that we had a big opportunity, I just kind of said, yes. What do we have? He said, well, we have 2 walls. We had just finished a big remodel renovation of Lindbergh School, the middle school, the high school. I think everybody got a little something out of that referendum. And we added on a wing on Lindbergh with the 2 big windows, which were very controversial for a while in town. They thought, why do we need to have round windows? But anyway, it ended up really, really a wonderful design. And to add to it, we had a wonderful gift from our own magnificent artist, Charles Kapsner, who decorated 2 walls with fresco that will be forever embedded in our school and just need to be much appreciated. Now, there's probably no other place I'd rather be if you want to be an art teacher and you want to be around art students that are spontaneous and excited and joyful when they come to art. You got to be in an art room with elementary kids, and I was the lucky one to get to do that. And so when we started talking about the whole plan, I thought, well, I better study up here on fresco a little bit, exactly. And I'm not sure how many of you know what a fresco really is. And I'm not going to go into it right now, except there are a couple of T-shirts on the tables that say, frescoes sink in. And if you don't know what a fresco is, you might want to look that up and figure out what it means. We had a T-shirt contest, and Lucy Presapio, the daughter of Phil and Susie Presapio, won the contest with her design because she proved that she knew what a fresco was. Anyway, I just could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to do that because I know we all want to get eating and having fun and partying. But I will just say that teaching about the frescoes was one of the highlights of my teaching career, and I owe that to Charles. And I'm so appreciative of our school, our whole school community with the support they have given the arts all the years that I've been here. There were a lot of schools that didn't have elementary art specialists, but Little Falls has had one for many, many years. And also, I just want to say that for our kids to watch the collaboration of a team of artists that produce a beautiful fresco is just amazing. It's a process that teaches so many things to kids about how to work together and how to create together. And it was just phenomenal to just see the joy in their faces when they'd walk by, and it was just like he was just a rock star. And, any little chip of plaster that might fall down or a paintbrush or whatever, was like a great souvenir. It was just really fun to watch. Dusty, behind on the back wall, actually was a kindergartner when I was teaching at Lindbergh School. And so he got to see the whole process for all the years he was at Lindbergh. The thing about fresco is you don't realize until you see the behind-the-scenes work, and that involves hours and years of research. And Charles is a master at research and dates and history and planning and studying and figuring it all out. And once he has his plan, the actual painting of the fresco, which is wet plaster on a wet wall, and you only have so many hours to paint each day. It's kind of like doing a giant jigsaw puzzle. That's what the kids got to see. They didn't get to see the whole creative process. So we had to wait, and then when they were ready to do the next step or the next fresco, then the excitement would all come back again to actually see the artists doing their craft. So in the middle of the fresco, there is a tree, and this is the Stewardship fresco that's out in the, on the wall. I hope you all really appreciate that charcoal drawing. That is one half of the fresco. The other half is not here. So together, it's twice as long as the charcoal drawing. The left side is all about Charles Lindbergh and how he became famous. And on the right side, there is a crystal ball. And it's kind of floating between the hands of a teacher. And there are 4 or 5 little children that are gathered around watching her kind of balance this crystal ball. And being a wonderful Renaissance artist, he uses symbolism a lot in his work. And, the kids would ask, well, what is that? What is that crystal ball? And well, we'd say, well, think about it a little bit. What do you think it is? And they'd all have their ideas. And then they would realize that they all these children in the fresco have one had a branch, kind of representing science. Another one had a book representing reading. Another one, or maybe there was a history book, and there was a paintbrush, and there was a student playing a violin. And they finally kind of put it together that this was about education. And then, looking at the crystal ball that the teacher was just kind of trying to manipulate and work with, you realize that the children are the future. So this wonderful fresco starts out with going back to the days of Charles Lindbergh and his famous flight. And then it goes all the way to the future. The end of the right side of the fresco is the future. And that is in the hands of children. And I appreciate so much that our school board and the teachers and the administrators and all the kids, there were 600, 800 people walking by that fresco every day. And it was all really about them. And it was giving another view from an artist about education, and not just Charles Lindbergh, but his feelings about conservation and education, and how valuable it is. So I thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nelson. Well, in conclusion, while this evening kicks off the 30th anniversary of the Stewardship, ongoing collaboration will happen at Lindbergh School, where I will work with the current superintendent, who is, in spirit of continuity, Cal Jackson's son-in-law, Greg Johnson. So thank you again for joining the celebration, and please enjoy the rest of the evening.